Do men really want peace? Hello everyone, I'm Sarah from Everyday Starlet. Welcome to my channel. I make videos to inspire you to be the star of your own life. Overwhelmingly, the most popular comment that I seem to be getting on all of my social media relationship advice is men just want peace. That's what they want from a woman. They just want peace. I mean, not a peace, but like they want peace and calm, like calmness from a woman. They want to come home at the end of the day and they want a woman who's peaceful and calm. I don't actually believe that that's true, and I'm gonna explain why. There's a few different theories as to why men are saying that they want peace. I would say probably the most common one is that it's probably coming from men who have had very turbulent relationships in the past. Many of us have had turbulent relationships, and there are a lot of women out there who are very, very heavy in their masculine energy. A lot of women who are very heavy in their wounded masculine energy, so they are very like angry and aggressive. A lot of nagging, a lot of those things. So I do believe that probably there are a lot of men out there who maybe have been in relationships where they've had a lot of that. Some of them may have brought that on themselves, and some of them may have chosen to get into relationships like this. And I'm not saying that men or women are innocent in those type of situations. I've talked a lot about that, like nagging woman, passive man relationship dynamics in a lot of other videos. So I'm not going to delve into that too deeply here. You can watch some of my other videos where I talk about that dynamic and the reasons behind that. I do think that a lot of times when men get out of relationships like that, because they've been with a woman who has so much masculine energy and very often masculine aggression, or been very nagging and things like that, men decide that they just want peace. They just want peace. They just want calm from a woman. So they think that sort of a calm, passive, submissive woman is going to be what they want. If a man has gotten into a relationship with a very aggressive, wounded masculine, he probably was drawn to her because he initially was passive himself. So if he gets involved with a woman who's more passive or more submissive, I mean, she's never really going to be able to submit to him if he's not fully stepped into his masculine, which is a whole other conversation that we're not going to get into. However, there's going to be no sexual attraction. If you have two passive partners, it's not going to work. In this situation, men need to fully step into the healthiest version of their masculine energy in order to attract a feminine partner. Point blank, period. Any type of feminine partner, a man's gonna have to really step into his own masculine energy in order to attract it. In the same way that if a woman wants a masculine partner, she's going to have to step into her feminine energy. That's basic laws of polarity, and I have other videos talking about polarity. I believe that many men are saying that they just want peace, they just want calm from a woman, because that in that moment, that's the energy he's craving, or that's what he's convinced himself that he wants in a relationship. Most men, most people in general, but in this particular case I'm talking about men, are operating from their ego. So their ego is telling them that they just want peace and calm because that's easier. The ego wants it to be easier, and the ego is like, hey, you had that other woman who was really masculine, so you just want a submissive woman who's in her peace and calm and whatever. And so their ego is telling them this. For most men, if they got into a relationship with a woman who was just peaceful and calm and just submissive all the time, he would be bored to tears. And anyone who wants to argue with me that this is just something that a woman has made up, Jordan Peterson, who is sort of the GOAT when it comes to talking about men and masculinity, has a lot of videos talking about this, about how you do not want a partner who just agrees with you all the time. You don't want a partner who just goes along with everything you say. I believe his exact quote was, you don't want a partner who thinks that you're perfect at the level that you currently are, because for one thing, you don't want to date someone who's delusional. That's coming from Jordan Peterson. So this is not just some woman who's just making stuff up off the top of her head, right? So the reality is, feminine energy is incredibly multidimensional. It has so many archetypes, flavors, so many dimensions to it. Feminine energy is not what society thinks of as being feminine or girly. And yes, I realize I'm saying this in a very girly, feminine, puffy dress with a bunch of makeup on. But feminine energy is, I mean, it can be pretty dresses and satin bows. It can also be like digging in the dirt and connecting with Mother Nature. It can be, just dancing like a crazy person. It can be being in flow. It can be crying hysterically because your heart is just busting open with love or sorrow. It can be anger and rage and like fieriness because you feel like your partner is out of integrity. It can feel so many different flavors. It can be a wise woman who feels that inner wisdom and knows what's about to happen before it actually happens, that women's intuition. It can be the sensual lover energy who just is so intersexual turn on. It could be a sacred slut who just, you know, wants to get it on, right? I mean, it can be so many things. Our society suppresses that and puts feminine energy into this one little box of this is what it is, or, you know, or two little boxes, you're either the good girl or the bad girl. I have a video where we're talking about that. We limit it to these things because it keeps women weaker, right? And we do the same thing for men. There's a whole version of it for men. I have a video about that too. But it keeps women weaker, and it keeps women from tapping into the fullness of their feminine energy, that full spectrum. And as women, tapping into all of those flavors of the feminine is so important for us. It's healing for us. Like, it's a gift we can give to ourselves to tap into all of those things. It's incredibly, incredibly important. I actually have an online course called Feminine Radiance if you'd like to start tapping into your feminine energy and all the different flavors of it. That said, the masculine craves all the different flavors of the feminine. Even if he doesn't actually know it, and his ego might not like it, because his ego is gonna like the light, pretty sides, the easy to please sides, the maybe the warm, nurturing mother energy, or the playful maiden energy. The masculine's ego's not really gonna like the angry rage part, or necessarily the crying sorrow part. Like, he's not always gonna like the dark sides of the feminine. He's gonna want it though, and he's gonna crave it. Like, masculine men's souls crave the full spectrum of the feminine. They fear a lot of aspects of it because they're not used to it, because we don't see the full spectrum of the feminine in our society often enough, or sometimes even at all. The masculine is going to crave it. When men say that they want peace in a woman, maybe in certain moments a man is going to want peace. He's going to want calm. Maybe he's come home from a long, hard day. He's been facing, you know, dragons all day or whatever. Not literal dragons, but metaphorical dragons, I suppose. Maybe he's facing dragons. I don't know. Anything's possible nowadays. He's out in the world and he's facing the world, and he comes home.Maybe in that moment, maybe he does want peace and calm. He's not always going to want peace and calm. That's not always going to happen. And that's why when you have a true masculine-feminine relationship, so you have a feminine partner who really tunes into her masculine partner's heart, and she senses in that moment that what he needs is calm, then she can tap into that calm, peaceful part of her and gift him that energy as a loving gift to him. Now, if, say, her masculine partner comes home or comes in the room or whatever, shows up, he may say, I just want peace and calm right now. But if a feminine woman tunes into her heart and connects with his heart and actually feels into not what she wants, right? This isn't about what she wants, but she tunes into his heart and thinks, no, calm is not what he needs. Maybe his ego is saying that it needs calm and peace. But if she's like, nope, he needs sexual energy right now. He needs my sacred slut to come out. Then gifting him that sacred slut energy is the most loving thing to do. It's loving for him because you're giving him the gift of the energy that he needs in that moment right now, that his soul needs, his soul is craving. It's also a gift to yourself as a feminine woman, because now you're giving yourself the permission to tap into another part of your own feminine energy. You know, and yes, it's a loving gift to him. It's a gift to yourself as well, because the more that as feminine women we explore the different aspects of our own feminine, it's healing for us at the same time. It's really a win-win situation, really. There's going to be times when your masculine partner, maybe he says he wants peace and calm, but what he actually wants in that moment is rage. He may need your feminine rage. Now, he may fear it. Many men do. Many men fear feminine rage because it can be really elaborate. It can be chaotic. The feminine is chaotic. It's a lot. It's too much. So that's why many men tell women that they're too much, when in reality, it's just they can't handle it. Like, their nervous systems have not been accustomed to dealing with the fullness of feminine energy, particularly the dark feminine, such as feminine rage. So that's why it is also important. You don't want to abuse your partner with this, right? You don't want to hurt him. This is not about destroying a man or harming him in any way. It's about giving him a loving gift of the energy that you feel in your heart that he needs in that moment. And it's also, again, a gift to yourself because you're tapping into a part of yourself that maybe you haven't tapped into before. And that can be a beautiful gift that you give to each other. In fact, there's this massive stereotype that men are always looking for another woman, a new woman, when in reality, what most men are doing is they're actually looking for a different energy. And most women are capable of tapping into any energy that their partner could ever possibly want. It's just a matter of whether or not, as a woman, you're comfortable connecting to all the different types of energies, which is really beneficial to you if you learn how to do that. It's also beneficial to your partner because you can gift your partner those energies, and he's honestly going to be less likely to look for them in somebody else. Now, some men have a barrier to seeing their feminine partner in all the different energies, but they're gonna crave it. And if a man can find all the energies he could ever possibly want in a woman in one woman, it's beneficial to him as well. So he may have to break down some barriers to himself to being able to see a woman as, say, both the good girl and the bad girl, or both the darkness and the light. I mean, that may be a barrier that he has to work through. Women in general tend to need to work through their own blockages around tapping into certain parts of themselves that they may not necessarily be comfortable with. So there are hurdles to this. It's not like it's necessarily easy. However, it is possible for all women to tap into all the different flavors of the feminine. And most men crave all the different flavors of the feminine, just at different points in their life, different points in the day, different just points in the moment. The topic of infidelity, cheating, things like that, it's a very multi-dimensional topic. I highly recommend the work of Esther Perel if you want to look into that more. There's a really gross stereotype that I see, and I see people talk about this all the time. The idea that, like, well, men aren't getting enough sex, so they just go get it from someone else, and like that's the reason why men cheat. And that's just such a narrow, shallow, superficial view of infidelity that it boggles my mind that people still think that narrow-minded. But usually, and there's exceptions to this because there's other reasons why people are unfaithful. It's a very multi-dimensional thing. But very often, the reason why a man not necessarily will cheat, I'm not justifying infidelity in any way. The reason why men start to kind of wander and it starts to get into that area where it could potentially become cheating is very often because a man is looking for the energy that he's not getting from his current partner in another woman. Sometimes it's not even another woman. Sometimes it's just another thing. It's another activity. For example, like if a man really has a woman who's very fiery, she's a very fiery temper, and he's just like craving like calmness or peace. He is actually craving calm, cooling energy. He may decide to take a dip in the ocean. Ocean is a very feminine, that water, that ocean, that flow is very much feminine energy. That can actually sometimes quench his craving for calmness and peace, that cooling energy that he's not getting from his feminine partner. Now that said, many men are going to look for these energies in a feminine woman because feminine women are basically the most common way that men access feminine energy. Say, for example, a man has a feminine partner who is very fiery. She is very, hot, passionate. He may start checking out women who are maybe cooler, calmer, more peaceful. But if he does decide to leave that fiery woman that he's in a relationship with and go off for the woman who is calm and peaceful, eventually he's going to be tired of that calm and peace, and he's going to decide that he wants some fiery energy. Very likely, he's going to start trying to get that fiery energy out of that woman. And very often, if she's calm and peaceful most of the time, she may not have ever tapped into that fiery part of her. So she may not be comfortable with that. He's going to now start thinking about either the original woman who was fiery, or he's going to start looking for another woman who's fiery. He's just craving those energies. It's not even really about the new woman. And if as a woman, if you're capable of tapping into all the different energies because it's great for you and it's great for your partner, you're gonna have a much more connected relationship because it's not gonna feel like, you're not gonna feel limited yourself, and your partner is not gonna feel limited by the fact that they're only getting one energy. That's gonna be boring. You know, for most men, if they just had a woman who was calm and peaceful all the time, they'd be bored to tears. I believe it's actually even Jordan Peterson that mentioned something about the idea of if you are with a partner who just agrees with everything you say all the time, that'll be entertaining for like at most a month, and then you're just gonna be bored. Like it's just not, it's not gonna interest you. When men say that they just want calm and peace, that's probably something that they're craving from a woman right now in that moment because they haven't had that experience. Whereas if they just had a woman who only was capable of giving them calm and peace, they would start craving anger. They'd start craving, you know, feminine fiery energy because they're not getting that. And calm and peace all the time is not necessarily going to lead to sexual polarity, right? That's going to be, you know, especially if he is now calm and peaceful and she's calm and peaceful, their egos might be like, oh, hey, this is nice and calm and peaceful and easy. But eventually you're probably going to stop having sexual attraction for each other. Because a lot of times you need that dark energy, that fiery energy in a relationship to actually even have a sexual attraction. Not all the time, and you can have very, you know, calm, peaceful lovemaking that can happen, but you're probably going to end up craving something else. And I think that's why you see a lot of men who maybe they pick a feminine partner because she's calm and peaceful all the time. And then he starts fantasizing about, you know, maybe he starts watching porn it has very like aggressive women in it, or maybe he starts maybe even going to a dominatrix who he hires to tell him he's a bad boy. I don't know, because that's what he's gonna crave. So I think it's really dangerous when we get into this idea, and I see this a lot with men who comment, and I think women have this mentality too, but I see a lot of men who say, I just want calm, I just want peace from a woman. Men only want a woman who's submissive. I'm gonna tell you right now, none of my content is anti-submissive. It is about, as a woman, being able to tune into your heart and choosing a man that is worthy of your submission. Not every man is going to be worthy of a woman's submission. A man needs to be a true, healthy, masculine king in order for a woman to be able to submit to him in a safe space. So men need to create that safety, and it is important for men. I think the more that men actually admit that they want the full range of the feminine, because trust me, you all do. Your ego might not think it does, but trust me, you do. It's a matter of being open and admitting that to yourself. If you want to know more about some of the different flavors of the feminine, I have several videos about the feminine archetypes, which is a great place to start. I really feel like a huge part of my message and a huge part of my whole social media presence, specifically my YouTube channel, is about showing the feminine in different film examples so people can see, particularly women can see, that feminine doesn't have to mean one small little box of you know, this one little look. It doesn't actually have any age to it. It's ageless. It can be in a woman who is a bubbly blonde Harvard law student, or it can be in a woman who is a writer who moves to Tuscany. It can be a French housewife who's having these erotic fantasies. It can be so many different things, and it's just a matter of tapping into your own preferred flavor of the feminine, and also being able to access all the different flavors of the feminine, because it's healing for you, and your partner is going to love it. His ego might not love it at first, but in reality, if as a woman, if you can tap into your heart and you can tap into the fullness of your feminine, and you can gift your masculine partner the energy that he is craving in that moment, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And I do think that there's a lot of men out there who are probably gonna argue with this. They're gonna tell me, nope, men just want peace, men just want calm. It's not what you want. It's not. I hate to break it to you, but it's not. As eventually you're gonna get tired of that. And you're probably going to start looking for it in other women, which you may not have a problem with. I don't know. I guess it depends on your moral stance on monogamy, but it's better for families. It's better for community. If you have people, I mean, think about it as a man. If you could be in a relationship with a woman who knew your needs more than you knew your own, which is entirely possible if a woman is truly connected to her heart, because women have a huge amount of oracle wisdom that is beyond what most people could even comprehend. If you could actually find a woman who could give you any energy that you needed in that moment as a gift of love, you wouldn't need any other women. You wouldn't have a need for that. You would have found your partner. And I can't imagine a man on earth that wouldn't actually find that to be just heaven on earth. So this is one of the reasons why I advocate so much for women to tap into the fullness of their feminine energy. There are going to be men out there who aren't going to like it. There's going to be men out there who aren't comfortable with it. There's going to be men out there whose egos can't handle it. Those are not the men that I encourage you to worry about. But there are men out there who are craving women to tap into the fullness of their feminine energy. I can guarantee it. So if you as a woman want to tap into the full spectrum of your feminine energy, I highly recommend you sign up for my online course, Feminine Radiance. It's a beginner's guide for women to really tap into different aspects of their feminine energy. If you have any other, flavors of the feminine or any other aspects of this that you would like me to go into more detail about, I would be more than happy to make a follow-up video. Just let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you and I love your suggestions. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give it a big thumbs up and be sure you subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on all my social media accounts. The links are in the description box below, along with links to my online course. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you join me next time.